Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. Delighted on this episode to be talking with author Patricia A. Jackson. Patricia, thank you for joining.
Yeah, glad you have me here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're certainly welcome anytime. And I know that we're talking about the world of urban fantasy, perhaps some Star Wars in the mix, and perhaps some other things as well. So glad to have you. And I tend to start with an origins question. So I'm curious what it is about this world of writing that has connected you and had attracted you to the written word.
Adventure. I've always been a very adventurous kid, and there are some things that you're limited to and limited by, and when you get to write stories, the ceiling is just glass. You just break through it.
Mm, love it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Reimagining the world.
Absolutely. And being and becoming anything that you like. And that's kind of become my writing process.
Mm-hmm.
Writing is the sacred playground. And if you want to hunt Jedi on velociraptors, you can do that.
Thinking about these worlds that you're creating, these ceilings that you're bursting through, just thinking about urban fantasy. I know that one of your works is Forging a Nightmare, which is a great title, by the way, and I see
Thank
the
you.
cover behind you there. Uh, yeah, I'm curious about urban fantasy and what this kind of storytelling allows you to tackle.
If you had told me that I would ever write an urban fantasy, I would have giggled at you because I'm a high fantasy girl. Give me my dragons and unicorns and high elves and that kind of thing. But someone told my mother that she was baptized incorrectly. And I decided I wanted to break their shit. Whether you were sprinkled with water or someone drowned you beneath the pulpit, I'm like, you want me to believe in ghosts, but you're going to tell me the ghosts are upset with how water was thrown on you to say you're part of
Yeah.
the club. Yeah, I'm not okay. So I'm going to break your stuff. So urban fantasy gave me an opportunity to do that, to step into the real world because I don't want to be in the real world. I live here already. I want to leave, but I was able to go to hell, which was wonderful, and make up stories, and break people's stuff, and come back to
Hmm.
living world to say, hey, I survived and did it.
Nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah, I was a religion major once upon a time. My first degree was in religion, and it's interesting. There's little subtle differences and who's in the club and who's not, and yeah.
There was a gentleman today, a pastor, that brought an AR-15 on the pulpit and pointed it at his congregation. And people need to wake up. Wake up.
Yeah.
Religion is a collar. Faith is for everyone if you choose
Mm,
it, but religion is a collar.
yeah. Yeah. I'm curious about the inspirations that you have. Sounds like there's some high fantasy mingled in there, as well as maybe some authors that are challenging some norms. So I'm curious to hear who or what inspires you.
I wrote my first little novel when I was 8 years old, and that was after seeing Star Wars. I came home and I wrote a book about a little girl and her magical horses because I love horses. And they were all different color of the rainbow with different abilities. And who needs the force when you have a good horse?
Yeah.
And that became my inspiration for everything. So you'll see a horse in almost everything that I write. So that's one of my greatest inspirations because that's where the adventure lies. There's always been an adventure in the saddle, whether I was doing fox hunting or cross country or going to a show. Um, just adventure, just to live the adventure. Star Wars was the same thing, though I was a little broken after Star Wars because I didn't realize that I had grown into the hero default,
Mm,
and that's
mm,
I was writing characters that didn't look like me. I thought to be beautiful and to be the hero, you had to have blonde hair, blue eyes, and white skin.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, glad that you are pushing against that as you're exploring work. Yeah. We also have a common interest in talking about access to reading and book bans and other
Freedom
such
to
things.
read. Hmm.
That's right. That's right. I've edited a column with the Allen Review the past year about that, and I know that you have a book that explores book bans and that practice. So, anything that you'd like to say in that avenue of experience?
Um, the nice people, us, need to wake up. And we need to realize that there are bad actors, and there are only a few of them, but they're squeaky and they're loud, and they give their money to bad things that they really haven't explored or researched for themselves. And they are setting the plan for us. And they're setting dog whistles to get others like them upset, such as parental rights. The government's coming for your parental rights. No, 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 no. What they want is your parental rights, nice people. They want to dictate what your children read. If they don't want their kids reading, about Harriet Tubman, they don't want your kids reading about Harriet Tubman either, because your kid might go into the library and give my kid that Harriet Tubman book. Like it's like drugs or something. I'm like, you should be happy if your child is giving another child a book to read. You should be ecstatic about that, but then they want to redefine patriotism and that you're not a patriot if you read certain kinds of books. Isn't this country about freedom? The last I checked, it used to be, but I see that going away. But the book in question is called Ban This,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it is about the fight that myself, another teacher, and about 60 of our kids fought at our school district when our school board, our then school board, decided to ban 300 materials from our school community. It was the largest book ban in American history, and I still can't believe it happened. We're talking an African coloring book. We're talking a book about little black girl's hair. My favorite book, Not Quite Snow White, that's a book about a little girl auditioning to be Snow White. She's told that she can't be Snow White because that character's white. She does the work anyway, and she wins the role. And I mean, just crazy, some of these children's books. I Am Enough, Pink is for Boys. Seriously? And
Hmm.
these people had not read these books, because if they had, they'd have been like, "You're dumb. This is just a children's book about being nice to people. You're just dumb." So I'm really trying to wake people up, and Ban This is about the arguments that that side of the aisle comes with and how we fought back. Black history is American history. No, we're not giving your children pornography. Clearly, you don't know what pornography is if you believe that. And I'm tired of people who want to be like safe. Well, I don't know what to say to my school board. I don't. No, that's safe. That's coward talk. And I don't need allies. I need co-conspirators. I need fellow Sith down in the arena, lightsabers out, bring the war horses, and be like, not on my watch. And this book helps people learn what to say to their neighbor, to their community members at the grocery store. No, no, you didn't read that, or you didn't read it correctly. Let me help you out. Because we need more nice people in the fight, because I just feel us slipping. And by the time nice people realize what has happened, it's going to be too late, and it's going to be even harder to undo the damage.
I absolutely hear that. I hear that. And I'll mention here, as you're talking about Sith and Jedi and making that parallel, you've written in the world of Star Wars as well for listeners out there that are not aware of that. So lovely connections there, and in the rebellion and the Empire, and what that story is all about as well.
Yes, I have, and I do serve the Empire. I do love Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, though I see who and what they are. But there are people that had to be on the good side of that and hoping to affect change in some way. But I'm sure I would have turned on them eventually, been like, "Yeah, you went too far. You went too far, and now I have to fight against you." Um, but I love The Acolyte that just came out. I did a Disney gig where I wrote a middle grade version of The Acolyte. And I don't think it will ever see daylight because of all the backlash that has happened to the show, which makes me really super, super sad about that because that was a fun project and there was some good stuff that was going on there. And yeah, there are some other parts that needed help, but that's Star Wars, right? That's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do hope the project makes it out at some point so that people can read it
You
if
too.
that occurs. Yeah. What is next for you in the avenue of creating?
I'm working on an epic fantasy called Culling of the Blood, and I'm really hoping that it will be successful. It's what the kids in anime would call an isekai. It's a portal fantasy where the kid gets transported to a different world and then has to contend with all the things as far as his training in that world while he's trying to get home. I've been working on it for almost 3 years now, which is just too long, but I've just been interrupted by so many different stories. Bandis, the Acolyte story, and so we're getting really close. And then I'm hoping I can walk away to a hardcore military sci-fi. I'm very excited about that.
Nice, nice. Something in the Heinlein direction or something like that.
Something in the Mass Effect Halo kind of direction, but
Ah,
with the lady
cool.
character and lots of cool aliens, and the premise that some of these aliens have been to Earth before, which set up Greek mythology for us in a sense. So I'm
Cool.
really stoked. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We need some female Halo, absolutely. And anything mythology, I'm down for. Uh, have we missed anything before we tell people where to find your work? Was there any part that you'd like to mention or emphasize before we close with that?
Just that those of us who are nerds, we're very quiet and we need to not be quiet because they're going to come for our books. Um, there's a gentleman in Oklahoma, a representative that's trying to get rid of what they call open door romances. I didn't know what that was. I had to go ask a romance friend that. And open door romances, I guess, are where the sex gets really explicit, and that's not
Uh,
something I'm going to buy. That's not something I'm going to seek. But if someone wants to write that and someone wants to read that, that is their right. And this guy
yeah,
wants to make it a felony. He wants to say prison time and a $1,500 fine. And I think that's ridiculous. Well, if they're going after that, they're going to come for our stuff too, because in science fiction in particular, that's where we criticize governments. That's where we criticize societies. And if we're not allowed to criticize, they're going to come for our books. They're going to come for our ideas. And we need to get more active to protect our society and our communities.
yeah, yeah. Critical awareness and voice. Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Anywhere that people can go to find out about your work? I know you have a website, any social media spaces or anything like that that you'd like to mention.
I still troll Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, the bad place, every once in a while. And I'm Tristan there, Tristan. But anywhere else you can find me on TikTok or IG or Facebook at By Birthright, Bybirthright.
Awesome, awesome. Well, many thanks for the wonderful talk, and I appreciate the message. And let people read the books for goodness sakes. Let them read the
Yes,
books.
yes.
Yeah, and keep asking the questions.
The hard questions, yes.
Absolutely. Many thanks, and glad to chat anytime.